Hi, everybody. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to the podcast. It's been a little bit of time since I have recorded a podcast because I have been on a little bit of a break, and I hope you all have been resting and doing very well yourselves. So, quick energy update as we are getting into the middle of October, which is really a ramp up of energy. We had a little bit of a lull and a little bit of a break, and now we're starting to see things gain momentum as we start to conclude 2024 and enter 2025, which is going to be a whole nother shift in the collective energy, a big shift in the collective energy. So this last month has been very much a month about staying secluded, going inward, getting offline. Really, it's been about being in the womb, being in the void, because there has been so much energy going on and so much collective shifting happening externally that it's been very important to come inward and really focus on yourself and learn to sit in the quietness and not be looking for external validation and external guidance at this time, but really going offline and coming in. I know a lot of people I know have been going through a very similar situation where it's very much been about shutting everything off. And that has allowed um, time for us to really listen and learn how to use our own intuition and how to use our own inner guidepost without having to seek external information or validation for the things that we're feeling. And everybody's going on a very unique journey right now. So many people are still working through a lot of things that they have come to earth to work on. So you may have experienced a ramp up of energy around you that has felt maybe a bit intense. There's a lot of karmic cleanup happening right now where we're really trying to get through these cycles and end them. And so that's been going on for some. Some of you may have been experiencing a lot of physical shifts happening, especially we've had so many solar flares and geomagnetic storms coming in, which has been disrupting the system. And the system is constantly needing recalibration when we have these big energetic shifts. And so rest has been really important. There has been extreme exhaustion going on, a need to just really clean up the diet, make sure you are drinking plenty of clean water, make sure you are just resting as much as you can. There's been days that I have experienced where it's been hard to get through the entire day. I hit mid-afternoon and then it's just crash, and I've got to sit down and take a nap, which is very unlike me. But those energy shifts have been so strong and so impactful that there's been no avoiding doing that. Some people have been really physically impacted. So if there has been residual energies in certain parts of your body, maybe your stomach, maybe your back has been really hurting, or you've had a flare up of physical activities going on, that's been a sign of clearing out old energies that you've been holding on to as well. So lots and lots of things happening. And this was definitely not a time to be out and about. It's been a time of deep reflection. So with the mid month hitting, and now we're here in the middle of October. I'm recording this on October the 16th. We have a full moon in Aries tomorrow, the 17th. It's going to head in the overnight hours, actually. So early morning hours for those of you in the North American realm. For Europe and beyond, it will hit later in the day or the evening. This is the big one. This is a huge, huge shift. And it is the restart of really the zodiac. So this Aries is the first sign in the zodiac. So it's really a rebirth, a restart. And it feels very much as though we've been going through this very deep death process these last couple months leading up to this full moon. The difference between this full moon is that this full moon is actually conjunct Chiron. That's also been in Aries. And so for anybody who has native Aries Chiron placements. That's me. And there's generations of us that have Aries natively for Chiron. This has been a big one. This has been a really big one that we have been working through. Chiron's theme within Aries is about hurt people, hurt people. It's about learning how to change the way that we react to situations, that we're not trying to get revenge on people who have maybe not been so kind to us, but that we are looking at things from a higher perspective. And that we are also working on woundings around ourselves, like on our personal power and our personal ability to step fully into our authenticity, and not holding back in those regards. So there's been so much shifting going on, especially for those of you who do have native Chiron placements in Aries. But this moon is conjunct Chiron. So we can see that our insecurities, our personal woundings are coming up to the surface during this time. And on a global scale, because Aries rules, this is ruled by the planet of Mars, and Mars is action oriented, it is aggressive energy, it is the masculine energy. We could see a lot of energy popping up in the collective, a lot of aggression going on. So obviously, we have pockets across the world that are in a state of turmoil right now. And those pockets could potentially see some flare-ups happening around this full moon. The key is trying to stay in the place of neutrality, trying to stay in love, trying to send love out to people and to the world, especially those areas where there could be conflict, to hopefully mitigate. Everything is energy, including that. And if we pour fuel on the fire, it's only going to get worse. If we mitigate by sending love and peace and staying in that neutrality piece, that is going to help to shift the energies for sure. So this is a big one. The other thing that's happening this full moon is that we are having a square to Mars. So the sun and the moon are squaring Mars. And we also have a square to Pluto between the sun and the moon and Pluto. And Pluto and Mars is in an opposition. And of course, the sun and the moon are in an opposition. So there is a lot of big energy here. Pluto is the unearther. Pluto is the thing that is exposing what's unseen. It is getting into the depths of our psyche, what's unconscious. And so it is pushing us here. It's been interesting leading up to this. I have felt very stagnant. I have felt like I'm dragging through mud, that I can't move, that there's just been so much resistance happening. And I'm in the middle of a massive change personally too. So there's like this stagnation piece that just keeps pushing forward. There's a block there. And the closer this moon has come, the more of a release that is starting to happen for me personally. So I'm hoping that for you as well, that this release energy comes through this moon. And again, moon's about releasing. This is about releasing what we're holding on to that is not serving us anymore. And so this moon can definitely be one of taking the higher road, the higher octave of the energy, harnessing that energy of Mars and Pluto at the highest level to help propel you forward, to push you forward so you can fully step into yourself, fully step into your authenticity, and really embrace the changes that are occurring for you personally, but also that we collectively are in this massive shift of consciousness, and 2025 is only going to propel that even further. So that is a big one. Aries is about the I, of course. So we've got to embrace our own personal power because here is where all the power lies, not outside of you, not with all the things that are going on, not attachment to other thought forms and other collective pieces. It is all right here. And again, sitting in that void has been a blessing because it has allowed that time for us to really hone that in and to grow that inner compass. So keep looking that way. The other thing I want to touch upon is collective thought forms. So, collective thought forms are this whole energetic piece that can come in and really take over things. And because we're in a political cycle right now, especially in the United States, and kind of all eyes are here, um, we can kind of see on that level how collective thought forms can come into play, how we can get very attached to a particular outcome or a particular side of a system. This is happening all over the place. We have collective thought forms that come into play very easily. Everything from our work situation, where we can have collective thought forms with other people that we work with, to our family of origin, and we have specific collective thought forms that are formed from our upbringing and from our conditioning in that regard. We just can attach very easily to collective thought forms. And as we are inching our way through this very intense energy and we're moving through the rest of 2024, moving into 2025, one of the things just to keep in mind is how can you stay very much in a neutral spot when it comes to these collective thought forms? How can you stay just looking at it from the higher perspective versus jumping on the bandwagon because you're a diehard, thinker on this particular side or this particular side of things, or have this particular thought form? Um, these can amplify energy. So when we attach to something, it's just a piling on of more and more energy that comes in, and then it can get into this whole spiraling effect. And at times we can get so attached to it that we can't unattach, detach from these things. And that can be very detrimental to our health and to our energy field. So, one thing just to keep in mind that I just wanted to bring up is that this is not the time to be really jumping on the bandwagon of anything. Follow again your instincts, follow again your intuition, and lead with that. But coming at it from a very detached, neutral position, because we can particularly get so wrapped up in what's going on collectively, and that can create even more havoc or chaos energetically for what's going on. Remember, you are just a speck of dust in the entire universe. I mean, I love that. Image that you may have seen on social media where it's got the entire galaxy and it's like you are here in this entire vast expansive thing, and we forget that because we're very much tied to our ego and we're very much tied to this human experience, and we think that everything kind of revolves around us and this human experience, and it doesn't at all. That we are just a piece of this massive thing that is not understood at the human level very very well. So just remember that your energy has a lot of power with it. Where you move your focus energetically is what propels things forward. And so just be very conscientious of where you're putting your energy at this time. One of the big themes that came through for October when I was pulling cards, and I only talked about the October themes on Instagram very briefly this month. But one of the big things that came through was the energy of rabbit. Rabbit energy came through, and that was the card that I pulled for it. And the thing about rabbit is rabbit can, be very anxious. It can be very frenetic. There can be a lot of fear based pieces around rabbit energy. And so again, there's this whole energy right now going on collectively that is very fear-based, whether it's coming through from conflicts that are going on or it's coming through the political realm. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. And a lot of what the rabbit is trying to tell us is that it's very much about how we transform ourselves and how we move out of that fear-based energy that we get so wrapped up in. This last month has been very, very challenging. I am very much tuned into collective energy, so I feel things at the collective level, and I've had to really guard myself and shut off things because it's been such an amplification of energy. And understandably, between, we've had, of course, a lot of weather events happening across the globe as well. So that has added to a lot of instability, and that fear has come through. Obviously, that instability is based upon a fear piece. And so we just have to remember that we've got this going on. The other key thing to just touch upon is the fact that Pluto is still in Capricorn, and it just turned around on October 11th. It was going retrograde. It started to move forward on October 11th. So we only have a couple months left. It wraps up, I think it's November 16th is when it's going to wrap up, and then finally move into Aquarius. But Capricorn at 29 degrees at the mastery degree is very much on display. So we're seeing a lot of this top-down structural pieces, systems, institutions, all of these things are in a place of breakdown. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I still am not seeing a traditional type election for the United States. I talked about that before. So there's going to be some sort of shift, but it's going to be interesting to see if we start to move into that Aquarian energy, that new direction energy, before or after the election actually happens here. It's going to be very, very interesting. Aquarius is a shock element energy. It is very electric because it's ruled by Uranus. And so things like speaking up for the collective, making sure things are working for everybody, having an energy of unity, having an energy of disruption in many ways, because sometimes change doesn't come through until disruption actually happens or systems get broken down. So this is the energy we're moving into for the next 2 decades, almost 2 decades, with Pluto and Aquarius. So we're never going to see Pluto and Capricorn in our lifetimes again. That's done. It won't happen for another 240 years. And we're moving truly into this new era. And in 2025, we have 4 planets, outer planets, changing signs. Well, those outer planets involve the collective. We also have the nodes changing signs. So we just wrapped up our last nodal eclipse in Libra and Aries axis. This is also one of the last things that's going on in that north node, south node axis. So this is significant because there's going to change into Pisces in the north node and Virgo in the south node coming up. So we're having a collective shift, and it's interesting that we're moving from Aries in the north node, right? Personal power, empowerment, moving into ourselves more, to Pisces, which is about the spiritual plane, which is about the unseen, which is about the mysteries of the universe and life. So again, collectively, we're going through a very big shakeup. And by mid 2025, we are going to be pushing through something that has not been seen before. So it's going to be a big, big shift. So the big things here is about, again, staying inward, going into that void, making sure that you are truly taking care of you, and focusing on all the things that you need to focus on for yourself, and shutting out that outside noise. Looking at what you can do to refine your own personal habits, whether that's, just cleaning up your diet or getting more time in for meditation or for exercise or whatever it is. I know I found myself going and lifting weights more because I need a way to get this energy moved through the system. There's been so much coming through, especially with these solar flares, that there needs to be another way to get this moved through. So amping up those type of pieces. Don't forget about the physical system and knowing that you've got to sometimes physically move the system to be able to get those energies moved through, as well as just making sure that you're drinking plenty of water. So that's really all I wanted to talk about, and just give a quick energy update on what is happening. There is obviously going to be more coming in November. I will do a November update soon. But remember just to take care of yourselves, stay inward focused as much as you possibly can, and take good care of each other.